Hello, so Aldo fam, and welcome to my channel. On today's tutorial, I am going to show you how I made this Marie dress for a client. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I did was I actually washed the fabric just so I will know that it will not shrink once this is all said and done and it's still going to fit her. And I'm going to cut out the bodices. As you can see, I place the front bodice on fold and I place the back bodice on the other side, and I will be adding 1 inch for zipper. And I went ahead and traced all the darts and I cut out the bodices. And the patterns has seam allowances already, that's why I didn't add it on the fabric. This dress is going to have square neckline, that's what she wanted. Honest with you guys, this sewing project, I prayed a lot on this project just because this is my very first time to actually make a full dress for a client. That's why I was very careful that I don't mess it up. I am going to transfer all the darts on the other side of the bodices. It's time to sew the darts close. So this dress has a full lining, meaning I basically cut all the same pieces on the lining fabric. So I am pretty much making two dresses. Whatever I do on the shell fabric or the outside fabric, I am going to repeat it on the lining fabrics as well. Sewing the dart, start with the widest part and then go down to the point. I knot the thread so it will not unravel. And then after that, I press the bodices just so it lays flatter and it just looks so professional. For the markers, I actually use a fabric marker that will disappear in a few hours. But trust me, I almost had a heart attack when I was just tracing it on the white fabric. But it eventually, it faded away. I am going to sew the shoulder seams and the side seams of the shell fabric and the lining. After that, I am going to match the necklines of the lining and the shell fabric. Right sides of the fabrics should be facing each other. And I'm going to sew it along the edge following the correct seam allowance that I put on the pattern. So that's around 1/2 inch. And then when I reach the corner, I lift up the presser foot and pivot the fabric and then continue on sewing. After that, I clip the corners of the neckline and the curve. And then I flip the lining inside the shell fabric and I'm going to understitch it so the lining will stay put. Are understitching, you are stitching on the lining. The raw edge is going to be sitting on the lining. So make sure that you are not sewing over a wrinkle. Smooth it out first and then continue on sewing because it's going to show if you sew over a wrinkle. So just be aware of that. Now it's time to make the bottom of the dress. So first I quartered the waistline and then I just transfer that measurement on a long sheet of paper. And then I am going to draw straight lines because I am going to cut and slash it. Then I place the pattern on fold. The front panel is going to be cut on fold. Then I will cut two pieces for the back panels and I will add 1 inch for the zipper as well. I then match the side seams of the skirt panels and I'm going to sew it, and I will repeat the same steps on the lining fabric. Here I am adding darts on the skirt bottom. I am actually matching the darts on the waistline, just so when I match the skirt and the bodice together, they will align. After that, I am going to join the lining and the skirt bottom together. So when I attach it on the bodice, it's going to be one piece and easy to work with. Next day, I attach the invisible zipper. I already have a full tutorial on how to do this. I'm just going to leave the link up here or at the end screen so you can watch that, and that is a detailed tutorial. Time to close the back seams of the lining and the main fabric. I grab the fabric very close to the end of the zipper as much as possible so there will be no gap. And then I'm just going to match it right sides together and pin along the raw edges. The lining, it doesn't have to be as close to the zipper end because it's going to be inside, nobody is going to see it. So 5 inches is okay. Went ahead and sewed the back seams, and I'm super pleased with the way it turned out. As you can see, there is no wrinkle. The key to achieve that is if the allowance says 5/8, you do it 6/8. That method always worked for me, and I don't know why, it just worked, and I am not going to argue that. It's time to make the Filipiniana sleeves, and I also have a tutorial on how to do this. If you want a full tutorial, I'm just going to have the link in the description box below or at the end screen. For this Filipiniana sleeves, I didn't add lining to it just because it's all white and nobody will see it, and I ran out of fabric too. So I was like lucky that I have enough to finish this sewing project. I used 4 yards of fabrics, both lining and the shell fabric. Now I am going to top stitch the sleeve. The interfacing that I'm using is heavy duty, so it will hold its shape. Then I am going to base stitch along the curve, and I'm going to trim off the excess interfacing. Then I mark the center fold of the sleeve so I can easily pleat it in a little bit. Then I did 10 pleats, and I tried to make it symmetrical as possible. So 5 pleats on the left and 5 pleats on the right. Now I am going to add the bias tape along the edge of the armhole. Right sides of the fabrics should be facing. Then I will stitch it along the edge by about 1/4 inch. Apologize because there was a missing clip when I'm sewing the bias tape on the armholes. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. It's time to finish the armholes of the dress. The Filipiniana sleeves are going to be detachable. That's why I have to finish the armholes. So I'm going to be using the same bias tape that's about 2 1/2 inch wide, and it's about the same length of the armholes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to place the bias tape along the edge of the armhole. Right sides of the fabrics are facing each other. This is the exact same thing I did for the Filipiniana sleeves. That was a missing clip, so you just watch this and it's pretty much the same process. I left an extra tail at the beginning just so I can match it later on. The beauty about using a bias tape is it will follow the curve of the armholes, so it's not going to be wrinkly. Once I reach the ends, I am going to mark it, and I am going to sew it shut right here. Then I will trim off the excess fabric. I'm going to fold it once and then fold it one more time, wrapping the raw edges of the armhole. So that is the same thing I did for the Filipiniana sleeves. I basically double rolled it, wrapping the raw edge with the bias tape. I will sew it all the way around and finish the hemlines of the dress. This is what the dress looks like without the sleeves on. I absolutely love how it turned out. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you like this tutorial. If you would like to see more, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will get notified whenever I post a new one. I will see you next time. Bye!